Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
We started the new chapter, our environment, in the previous class. We just started, only a few definitions we discussed. So, hope you're remembering. Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Who will define environment? What do you mean by environment? Hadi, how can you define environment?
A living and non-living material surrounded by an organism.
That surround an organism is said to be its environment. Then what is ecosystem? Pratish, what do you mean by ecosystem?
All the interacting organisms in an area together with the non-living components form an ecosystem.
Okay, now without looking anywhere, without referring anywhere, you can say all the
interacting organisms in an area together with the non-living components form an ecosystem.
two types of ecosystems we learned. Adidev, what are those two categories? Natural and artificial. What is the difference between natural and artificial, Vishnupriya?
Ma'am, the natural will be directly from the biosphere and the artificial will be man-made.
Artificial ones are man-made and natural one will be existing as the same in nature. Can you give one example for artificial ecosystem? Anjida, one artificial and one natural.
Artificial aquarium, natural pond.
Artificial is?
Aquarium.
Aquarium. Natural? Natural.
Pond.
Pond, desert, forest, any example you can say. And then we discussed about the two components of ecosystem. What are the two components of ecosystem, Hadivi? Two basic components of ecosystem.
Biotic and abiotic.
Biotic and abiotic components. Biotic means living and abiotic means non-living components. And we also learned in detail about the different subdivisions of biotic components. Biotic components, as the name suggests, these are living components. You can categorize them into producers, consumers. Hope you're remembering. Did we discuss? Yes or no? How can you classify them? Producers, consumers and decomposers. So the components of ecosystem are biotic and abiotic. Biotic components include all the living organisms and abiotic are the non-living components like temperature, wind, rainfall, wind, minerals, etc. This we had seen last class. And biotic components can be further classified into producers. Producers, we even call it as autotrophs. We will deal with each one in detail later. First, let us learn the names. Producers or autotrophs, consumers or heterotrophs, and the third category, decomposers. So these three are the major biotic components in an ecosystem. Producers, we call them as autotrophs too. And second category, consumers or heterotrophs. And finally, decomposers. Producers, we call them as producers because they produce food. They are also known as autotrophs. Can you tell me why producers are known as autotrophs? We learned in first chapter. Life processes we have learned.
They make their own food.
They make their own food. Autotrophs can prepare their own food. Ashik, where have you gone? Autotrophs can prepare their own food, so you call them as autotrophs or producers. And then consumers, you call them as hetero. Hetero means others. So heterotrophs means those organisms which are dependent on other organisms for their food. So such organisms are known as consumers or heterotrophs. Ashik, where are you roaming around during the class time? Heterotrophs or consumers, they depend upon other organisms for their food. Then comes decomposers. Decomposers include bacteria and fungi. They break down the complex substances present in dead plants and animals and break it down into simpler substances. So about each category you are going to learn in detail. So we will begin with the first one, producers. Producers, consumers and decomposers are the three biotic factors or biotic components of an ecosystem, and we'll begin with producers or autotrophs. These are the organisms which can synthesize their own food, and hence the name autotrophs. Auto means self. They can synthesize food on their own. They are mainly green plants. Even blue-green algae you have learned, they are also known as autotrophs because they can prepare their own food. They have chlorophyll in them. So blue-green algae is a type of bacteria. Generally, when you say the producers are green plants. Blue-green algae are also capable of preparing their own food. You can include them too. Mainly green plants, they make their own food using solar energy. The source of energy for them is sun. They absorb solar energy and prepare food. What are the raw materials they need for preparing food? Aditya and Nair, what are the raw materials that they need?
Sunlight, carbon dioxide,
Already mentioned, carbon dioxide and
water.
Carbon dioxide and water are the raw materials needed, and at the same time, hello Ashik, where did you go? To have your snacks or breakfast?
No, ma'am.
Then, what is the reason why you skip the class in between?
I went to take textbook.
Yes?
When to take textbook.
Such a long time for taking textbook, so you have to keep everything ready before the class begins. Don't
Yes,
repeat
ma'am.
it. They are mainly green plants which make their own food using solar energy. As I told you, they make use of solar energy, and in presence of chlorophyll, they need chlorophyll also. Only green colored plants can prepare their own food, and they will convert the solar energy into chemical energy. Which are the raw materials used? Carbon dioxide and water. As Aditya said, carbon dioxide and water are the raw materials used, and they prepare chemical energy. All green plants, they have the capability to absorb solar energy. It's because of the chlorophyll, they can trap solar energy. That is why it is mentioned green plants. Only green plants have chlorophyll, and this chlorophyll will help the plants to trap solar energy, and they convert the simple inorganic substances like carbon dioxide and water into carbohydrates. Glucose is an example for a carbohydrate. This glucose can be converted into starch and can be stored in different parts of the plant. So what is the product they are preparing, or what type of food they are preparing? Carbohydrates. The nutrient that they are preparing is known as carbohydrate. Glucose. Glucose is an example for carbohydrate. It can be converted to starch and stored in plants, and you call the processes photosynthesis. The process by which green plants prepare their own food using carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll is known as photosynthesis. Photosynthesis can be carried out only by
Green plants.
green plants. And one more example I told other than green plants.
Blue, green algae.
Green algae.
Blue,
Good.
green algae.
Therefore, all green plants are known as producers. or autotrophs. So it can be asked why green plants are known as producers or autotrophs. We call them as producers because they can prepare their own food. We call them as autotrophs, same reason, auto, self, and trophic means it is a term related to nutrition. So they are capable of preparing food on their own. But what are the raw materials needed? Carbon dioxide and water, and the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll is also essential. So once again, I'll repeat the points. We started with producers. Producers, consumers, and decomposers are the three categories coming under. I'm waiting for your answer.
Natural.
Biotic components. Producers, consumers, and decomposers are the three categories of biotic factors of an ecosystem. We started with producers. These are the organisms that can synthesize their own food. An example, green plants and blue-green algae, they prepare food using solar energy. They can trap solar energy with the help of chlorophyll and convert carbon dioxide and water into glucose or into carbohydrates, and you call this process as photosynthesis. Hence, we call them as producers or autotrophs. Any doubts? Can I proceed to the next
Yes,
slide?
ma'am.
Okay,
Ma'am,
everyone?
1 minute.
Wait, ma'am.
Okay, take down. Those who have completed noting it down can revise it. Now we need to learn about the second category, that is consumers. Shall I change the slide? John?
Wait.
Okay, take it down. Organisms capable of synthesizing their own food come under the category of producers. They produce food. They produce food on their own. How do they produce food? Using raw materials like carbon dioxide and water in presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. What form of food they produce? Carbohydrates. Glucose and starch are examples for carbohydrates, and the process is known as photosynthesis. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Moving on to the next category, consumers. As I already told you, consumers can also be called as heterotrophs because they cannot prepare their own food. They depend upon other animals for their food, or else you can say they are dependent on plants either directly or indirectly. Either they will feed on plants directly or they will feed on other animals. When they feed on other animals, for example, if a carnivore, you know what are carnivore, flesh-eating animals, we can say that they are not directly dependent on plants because carnivores are not feeding on plants or plant products, but they feed on the flesh of animals. And carnivores are also dependent on plants indirectly because when a carnivore, say for example, a tiger feeds on or eats a deer or a goat or a buffalo, which are directly dependent on plants for their food. For example, God feeds on grass, and when a tiger or a lion is eating this deer or goat, they are indirectly dependent on plants. We'll start with herbivores. Let's see the different categories of consumers, how consumers are classified. First, we will see the names and then we'll see it in detail. Herbivores. The first group of consumers are herbivores. Herbivores are plant-eating animals. Carnivores.
Ma'am, will you show the previous slide one more time?
Which one?
Previous slide.
I will show you. Carnivores, Then comes omnivores. Omnivores feed on both plants and animals. Finally, parasites. Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores and parasites. Herbivores are those which feed on plants. Carnivores feed on the flesh of animals. Omnivores feed on both plants and animals. Parasites, they live inside or outside the body of a host organism and take nutrients from them. Once again, I will show the slide. Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores and parasites. You will learn about each category in detail. So before I proceed further, Rifa wanted to see the previous slide. Rifa, just have a quick look at this particular slide. Moving on to the first one, herbivores. Already briefly I told you what are herbivores. These organisms, consumers, these organisms consume the food produced either directly from the producers, that is green plants, or indirectly by feeding on other animals. This is the definition for consumers. Once again, consumers are organisms which consume the food or which depend on the food produced on plants directly or indirectly by feeding on other animals. They are either directly or indirectly dependent on plants. Directly dependent means they'll directly feed the plants. They are herbivores. But when they are indirectly dependent means they will feed on other animals who are in turn feeding on these green plants. So the definition is organisms that consume the food produced either directly from producers or indirectly by feeding on other animals. Once again, they consume the food produced either directly from producers or indirectly by feeding on other animals. The same definition is given in your textbook. So whenever you find it difficult to memorize the points, so you can break the same definition into different parts. The organism that consume the food either directly from the producers or indirectly by feeding on other animals. So break the sentence into 3-4 parts and then understand the meaning and learn it. You will not forget it. The organisms consume the food. So consumers, in the term itself it is given consumers. So they consume the food produced. How? Either directly. If it is directly, from producers, or indirectly. When it is indirectly, it is from other animals. Directly from plants, indirectly from other animals. Once again, these organisms consume the food produced either directly from the plants. In place of producers, you can even use green plants or producers. Which one is easy for you? You can use. Or indirectly by feeding on other animals. So the first group, herbivores. So here you can see the picture of a few herbivores. These animals, they feed on plants, or you can say they get their food, they obtain their food by eating the producers directly. They are dependent on the plants directly. They feed on plants. Once again, these organisms obtain their food by eating the producers or feeding on plants. Herbivores are animals which feed on plants. You can keep it simple like that. Anyhow, the definition given in your textbook I have included. You can simply say these are organisms that feed on plants, but you need to mention they are directly dependent on plants for their food. Examples: deer, rabbit, squirrel, goat, cattle, etc. Any example, any herbivorous animal, you can give us example. Once again, the definition for consumers: these are organisms that consume the food produced directly from producers or indirectly by feeding on other animals. And consumers are divided or classified into three types. Herbivores are plant-eating animals, or those animals which get their food from feeding on producers. Example: rabbit, squirrel, goat, cattle, buffalo. So many examples are there. Shall I change the slide?
No, ma'am.
Copy it down. Which is the next category, Hadi Amin? After herbivores, we need to learn about? Yes,
Carnivores.
carnivores. Carnivores are flesh-eating animals. These are organisms which depend on the flesh of other animals for their food. They are dependent on the flesh of other animals for their food, and you can call them as secondary consumers. We call them as secondary.
I have power failure, so
Problem.
on my video sometimes
No problem. So these are known as secondary consumers. If
Can you show us this side for 1 second?
I will show. Just wait. Let me complete this. After that, I'll show. Now, if carnivores are the secondary consumers, what do you call herbivores in terms of consumers? Did you get my point? We call carnivores as secondary consumers. Then herbivores are known as
Primary.
primary consumers. Herbivores are primary consumers and carnivores are secondary consumers. So some of you wanted to see the previous slide. I will show it again. Quickly note it down. Definition for consumers and also explanation for herbivores with examples are given. You should know a few examples and the definition. Herbivores are organisms that get their food by feeding on plants, or these are plant-eating animals. Shall I change now? Yes? Okay. So carnivores also, I hope it's clear. Flesh-eating animals come under the category carnivores, or you can say they are indirectly dependent on plants. They are indirectly dependent on plants. They are secondary consumers. Primary consumers are herbivores. Herbivores are primary consumers and carnivores are secondary consumers. Am I clear to you, children? No doubts, no? These are simple points which you had been learning from lower classes. Examples: lion, snake, wild cat, jackal, frog, birds, not all birds, certain birds like vulture, eagle, fishes, etc. Okay? Certain fishes, birds, certain birds, lion, snake, wild cat, tiger, leopard. You can see a jackal here, lion, wild cat. Now coming to the next category, omnivores. Omnivores are organisms which feed on both plants and animals. Both plant and plant products and even They feed on the flesh of other animals. So such organisms are known as omnivorous animals or omnivores. Can you give me a few examples? Human beings, bear, crow. Crow is an example, then bear, human beings, all these are examples for omnivorous animals. Omnivores. Clear?
Yes.
Shall I change? Okay.
No.
Yes? Savio? What happened?
Ma'am, I told you to know, change the slide.
You didn't write.
No, this is slide.
Previous one.
No, ma'am. Present one.
Tell me the topic, only then I can understand.
No, ma'am, you asked, can I change the slide? So I told you, no.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Now next category, parasites. Parasites are those organisms which live in or on the body of an organism and obtain nourishment from them. Parasites are organisms that live in or on the body of a host organism and obtain their nourishment. Parasites will negatively affect or they will cause harm to the host organism. Host organism, host means the organisms on which they are dependent on. They can either live inside or outside the body of the host and take nourishment from them. We call them as parasites. Some examples are leech, hookworm, pinworm, tapeworm. All these are examples for parasites. Here you can see leech, then hookworm. Hookworm, pinworm, then tapeworm, all these are found in the intestinal tract of human beings. So what are parasites? Parasites are organisms which live in or on the body of the host and they take nourishment, take nutrients from them. So will negatively affect the host organism. So with that, we have completed the different categories of which category is coming under? Which
Consumers.
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 Please turn your videos on, children, if you want the attendance. Vishnu, Emil, I thought you had some connect. Yes, Emil?
I can't turn the video on.
What happened?
It's just showing the Zoom
Okay. Once it is okay, just join soon. You have turned it on.
Yes, but it's not.
Okay. Any doubts in what we covered just now? Steve?
No, ma'am.
What is the topic that we discussed just now?
Parasites.
Only parasites we discussed.
No,
Main heading.
herbivorous. Alla.
You fix on one. Main heading. Steve.
Ma'am, types
Biotic.
of consumers.
Biotic components. Then under that we discussed about
Consumers.
consumers. You didn't expect a question, no? Since you mentioned about producers, I'll start from producers now. Who will tell me? Aman Shakir, why do you call green plants as producers? Why do you call green plants as producers?
They produce their own food.
How do they produce food? Just explain.
They absorb solar energy and convert simple inorganic substances
Like?
carbon dioxide and water to carbohydrates.
And prepare carbohydrates.
This is known as photosynthesis. And
What
they
is
prepare
it? Other than solar energy, presence of which other substance is needed? for photosynthesis?
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is also needed. That is why we say only green plants can produce food. And which are the different categories of consumers that we discussed, Prajot? Different categories of consumers. I can't hear you. The mic is working?
No, it's okay.
Okay. Okay.
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
Mute.
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
Prajot, no need to unmute, so much of disturbance. So it's okay. Already your mother told me that some problem is there with the connectivity. So get it rectified as early as possible. So you can message me the answer. Okay. Lolita.
Yes, ma'am. What was the question?
Question again. The
Ma'am, your voice is not audible. It's cracking.
different categories of consumers.
Herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores, and parasites.
Herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, and parasites. Good. Tell me about herbivores, Badram.
These are organisms which get their food by eating green plants.
Okay. How are carnivores different from omnivores? Hadibi, how are carnivores different from omnivores?
Carnivore depends in flesh and meat. Omnivores depend on both flesh and
Animals. What are parasites? What are parasites? Anne Mary, what do you mean by parasites?
They live in the body of the host cell and take the nourishment from it.
They live on or in the body of the host and take nourishment from them. And we also learned that herbivores you can call as dash consumers. Rifa?
Indirect.
Herbivores are known as dash consumers.
Primary.
Let Rifa answer.
Primary consumer.
Primary. And carnivores, Rifa? Carnivores is secondary consumers. So no doubts, no? I'll continue. John, what happened? Connectivity was not there.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you miss the class?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now next we are going to learn about decomposers. Do you know what is the role played by decomposers? I think class 8 you have learned about it. Who will tell me the role played by decomposers?
They make the soil for.
Not at a time.
They make humus in the soil.
What are they?
Humus.
They enrich the soil with humus. But how can they enrich the soil with humus? What do they do?
By breaking down decomposing substances.
Decompose.
Dead or decaying organisms.
Will be? What do they?
Decomposed.
Decomposed means what is the word meaning? Somebody was saying the answer. They'll break down.
Breaks down into
Break down into simpler substances.
Yes, they break down the complex substances into simpler substances. And where these simpler substances will reach?
The soil.
What is the advantage of releasing these simple substances into the soil?
The soil gets fertile and rich in.
Soil will be fertile, and who is benefited?
Plants.
Plants can absorb it again. These organisms, they feed on the dead bodies of plants and animals, and they break down the complex organic compounds present in dead organisms into simpler molecules. And these substances will reach the soil and can be used by the plants again. And if you just think that the world is without decomposers, if there are no decomposers in the world, what are the consequences? What all problems will arise? 1 point is already given.
There will be many dead bodies.
No
eh,
life. No life. Life.
Soil won't be fertile.
No life. Plants cannot, they will not get nutrients. So 1 point is given here, natural replenishment will not take place. The soil cannot be naturally replenished. Means when plants are grown in the soil, they will take up the nutrients, they will utilize these nutrients. And again, the soil should be enriched with these nutrients. Otherwise, if the used up nutrients are not released back or new nutrients are not added to the soil, gradually the fertility of the soil will be lost and the plants won't be able to grow. So natural replenishment, or again and again the nutrients should be added to the soil, that can be carried out only with the help of decomposers. And in the first line we have learned that they break down the complex bodies of dead bodies of plants and animals. But if decomposers are not there, they will accumulate, they will pile up, they cannot mix up with the soil. Am I right? And even some garbage or waste we dump, within a few days it will disappear. If you are dumping some leftover food or some fruits, vegetables and all, will you see that in the same condition after 1 week?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, it will get mixed up with the soil. Just assume that if no decomposers are there, all these substances will get accumulate and they will become breeding places for different vectors and can lead to the spread of diseases. So decomposers, they play a very important role and they help in replenishing the soil so that the fertility of the soil can be regained and the plants can grow healthy and they can produce better yield. Once again, we learned about decomposers that also come. This particular group also comes under the category of biotic components, producers, consumers and decomposers. The third category of biotic component, and they feed on the dead bodies of plants and animals. Examples are bacteria, fungi, all those are decomposers. Bacteria and fungi are examples for decomposers. They break down the complex organic compounds into simpler substances. This process is very important because only then these substances can be released back to the soil, leading to the natural replenishment of the soil and can be used up again by the plants. Any point to be repeated?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? Other than Ashik?
No, ma'am.
Others are not responding. Any doubts? Rose? Rose,
No, ma'am.
any doubts? Okay. Can I stop sharing? Aditya Nair, are you noting down the points?
Yes.
Okay. Aman Shakir? Meghna, Pratish, Haya, Emil, I could see your videos are off. Now you are turning it off in between. Okay. Nirupama, tell me about decomposers. What did we learn just now?
These are organisms which feed on dead bodies of plants and animals.
Okay, next point, Fion. They feed on dead plants and animals.
They break down the complex substances present.
What is the opposite of complex?
Simpler substances.
Simpler substances. Okay. Then what will happen to these simple substances? Adil, what will happen to these simple substances?
They will mix up with the soil.
And will be used again by? Who will use it from? Take it from the soil. Adil?
Plants.
Plants. And this process will help in increasing the fertility of the soil, or else you can say natural replenishment of the soil will take place. But if decomposers are not there, this process will not happen. Gradually the fertility of the soil will get lost. No doubts? Can we wind up?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, children.